Well, hello everyone, Dan Hurd Prospecting here. Welcome back to my channel. And if you're new, welcome. I hope to earn your subscription today. I am here in California at the ghost town known as Cerro. My buddy Brent, who runs the YouTube channel Ghost Town Living, invited me up here, and we spent yesterday underground in his lead silver mine at this ghost town. We found all sorts of amazing minerals. If you haven't seen that video, go back and check it out. Today, the plan was for me to help Brent locate gold in his ghost town and the mine. There were lots of rumors back in the day 100 years ago about gold around here. Some found by the miners in the tailings. There were seams of quartz that were said to have gold in them. Lots of rumors, but they don't know where the gold is. I was gonna help Brent find the gold today. Unfortunately, as you can see, we are frozen out. Everywhere that we wanted to check today is covered in snow and ice. There was a quartz seam up in the mountain we were gonna go check out. We can't even get to it. There were some washes down there that have water running through them usually. We were gonna do some panning in. We can't, there's no water, it's all frozen. What we had planned is not gonna work out. But we have other plans. We're gonna test some of the tailings where the miners apparently found gold, and we're gonna check out one of the other portals. They're just plowing the road to that right now. So there's still lots of adventuring to do, so wish us luck, and I hope you enjoy. So the rumors back in the day was that the miners that were mining for lead and silver underground in their, time off, were checking through the tailings of one of the main, I think it was the Union Mine, tailings, and found gold. Some of the rumors say they found significant gold and maybe even some big pieces of gold. Brent was telling me that going through the records of the production of the mine started off just getting silver and lead. Later on got some zinc, but as the mine progressed in their recovery records, the gold content was going up and up and up. They're finding more and more gold with these other minerals. So we want to see if we can find some gold. Now, right above the town site here, there are these great big mounds of tailings. Ooh, that sun. Whew. California sun, it's awesome. What we want to do is take a couple buckets of these tailings, sift them out so we're not taking the big rocks, and then go find some water down below. As we leave, there are lots of creeks and puddles and stuff that we can pan in. And we want to pan out some of these tailings and see if it shows any signs of gold. It's not exactly what we wanted to do today, but it will give us a little bit of an idea if there's anything more to look at in those tailings, gold-wise. And my buddy Jason here is today doing a video as well. If you don't know his channel, that's Jason from Mount Baker Mining and Metals. He's going to be doing a video about the Omega mine today. They've just plowed the road into it, and they're going to see if they can dig it out today. The Omega mine collapsed in, 100 years ago. I'm not sure when, a long time ago. And there were actually miners inside when it collapsed, killed the miners. Miners didn't make it out. And the portal's never been opened again since. They have an idea that they might be able to dig it out and get into some of the mine, not necessarily where the miners were killed, but some of the outer areas of the mine that haven't been explored since the collapse. That's their goal for today. If you want to see that adventure, you have to go check out Jason's channel, Mount Baker Mining and Metals. Oh look, copper ore. And because there's no chance of me doing the surface prospecting that I was expecting to do today, it just means I'm gonna have to come back another time to Cerro and hang out with Brent. Let's go see what we can do. Evan's bringing up the gear. And we got lots of tailings piles to choose from. Lots of them. Now, Brent told us two spots that we should try the tailings. One is this tailings pile outside the Omega shaft. The tailings pile here. Now, this isn't tailings. This is just a mine dump. This is the material that they just dug out of the pit, dumped out here because they didn't want it as they were working their way into the stuff that they did want. But because they were looking for lead and silver, if they blasted through any quartz veins, they might not have even stopped to have a look at them. They may have just threw it into the garbage pile. So we'll take one bucket from here and one from something on the other side of the mine. Evan, yeah. Get digging. No. And here is the Omega. But if you want to see what those guys are up to down there, you have to check out Jason and Brent's channels, because they're down in there having a great adventure. So Ev, what do you think?
Looks fun, but kind of dangerous.
Even if we can't get the prospecting done that we were hoping to get done, it's just fun hanging out around Cerro and seeing everything, all the old buildings, the old mine shafts. just having fun in the ghost town. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah.
Should we steal their Kubota?
Let's do
They
it.
left the keys in.
Yeah.
And looking at this mulch pile out here, it is just loaded in mineralized material. Quartz with iron going through it, just chunks of iron that are rotting away, whole big pieces, everything. There is a good chance of finding something in a pile like this. We had to hike into this spot here to go and see where the guys were digging in the Omega tunnel. So we didn't bring all of our gear. We just brought a bucket and shovel and one camera. It's unfortunate I didn't bring the close-up camera. There are some amazing rocks here. Hematite, I think they call that specular hematite. It's got hematite with the peacock-looking iridescence all over it. We have, ooh, can't break it out, it's frozen in. A great chunk of malachite here. Beautiful azurite. Beautiful azurite in that. Iron everywhere. And of course, you always expect to find the gold in with the iron and quartz. So there's just amazing looking stuff here. I will take some of these pieces back to take pictures when I get back to my close-up camera. Evan says the sun has melted the surface enough that he can get some surface material off. It's not much, but we can get some. It's gonna be frozen down deeper, but yeah, we're classifying down to a 1/2 inch because we don't necessarily need to take the rocks. We just wanna see if there's fine gold. If there are bigger chunks, that comes later. Although we do have the detector back at the truck. It may detect the other pile.
What?
Nothing, just filming you dig.
I can't dig.
It's frozen.
Frozen here.
It's very tedious getting any material from here because only the top 1/2 inch is actually thawed. So we gotta just scrape the top 1/2 inch, and hopefully in a few minutes the sun will thaw the next 1/2 inch and we can go. But very tedious digging. But it's Evan doing the tedious work. That's why I brought you along. Did you know that?
Yeah.
We think we see some slag down here, but we also see some definite iron pieces. Pull that one out there, Ev. This is definitely just an oxidized iron piece, and you can tell because of its weight. But that's definitely the stuff that you find gold in. Iron and gold often go together in these big quartz seams. So you get big chunks of massive iron in amongst the quartz, and often that's where the gold is. So yeah, we think that's slag, and that's iron. Hard to tell the difference. That one's very light, that one's very heavy. This one's in between, so we don't know. But let's keep the chunk of iron. We're calling that full because this material is really heavy, and we may have to carry this bucket all the way back to town. We might be lucky enough to put in the Kubota, but we may have to carry it. Depends on whether he gets the road plowed or not. I see people coming out of the mine shaft. And it's not the ghosts of miners past. So did you guys have fun in there?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was fun.
We got a good workout. You don't need CrossFit up here at Cerro Gordo.
No.
Find any ghosts of the old miners?
We heard some.
Good.
I don't think that we saw them.
Yeah.
That's what we were going in.
Yeah, we came this far,
Okay.
looked at that and said, we're not joining you.
Yeah. We made some progress, and then we lost some progress. And we dug some more.
Well, you're probably not going to like the news I have for you.
Okay.
The skid steer is stuck on the road.
Good. There we go. All right.
So we either have a lot of digging to do or a lot of walking to do.
Okay. Fair enough. There we go. Did Scotty walk back?
Yeah, they're up just above us right now.
Okay, cool.
That's what we wanted to do.
So the skid steer that is supposed to be plowing the road up and down for us to get up and down is getting more and more buried in what we think now is about 1,000 feet of snow. What at first looked to be a foot, maybe a foot and a half of snow is turning out to be 4, maybe 5, maybe 10 feet of snow. We don't know. It was deceiving to start with. And now it's a problem. Never a dull moment. He did it! Brent! Brent's the man! We may get our bucket out of here yet, although getting the side-by-side over that. So Brent's been working down there for the last half hour trying to get the road cleared, or get it so that we can at least get the side-by-side out. And it's getting worse and worse and worse for the skid steer. And now he's down far enough on a lot of the road that he's on ice, and he's just slipping all over the place. I know they want everything out. There's a truck down there, the side-by-side, the skid steer, everything needs to get out. But the bucket of dirt that we have down there, we can't carry out of here. It's too heavy, it's too far. So if we don't get that out, we're not gonna get our results. That's not good. Keep those fingers crossed. Well, we got the side-by-side out by just roaring through here. But as it hit the big whoop-de-whoops, our bucket flew out of the back and landed upright. Go figure. Unfortunately, still means we have to carry it up. I think a bunch of the dirt fell out too, Evan, so it's lighter now.
It's half full.
Perfect, perfect. That means you can carry it. Good work, Brent. You did a lot more than I thought you could.
Shout out Kubota. Those things can really get through some ice.
I forgot to turn the camera on for the side-by-side going by, but
that did good.
It did a fabulous job. Yeah. And I'm impressed with what you were able to do with the skid steer there.
Well, I think with the sun it'll melt off a little bit. We should be able to clear it today, maybe a little later on.
Optimism. I like it.
That's what we need.
This bucket's heavy. We decided to carry it out. I think it's time for Evan to take over. You go for a little bit. He's young. That wasn't very smart of me to film the Kubota going away. Now I have to walk. Now that I'm back and get my sunglasses on, whew, it's bright out here. So we're here at the other mulch pile, just the garbage that was dumped out from, I think this would probably have come from the Union mine. And again, they would have thrown away everything that wasn't the galena that they were looking for. So in here, we see iron, we see quartz, and hopefully, once we process it, we'll see a bit of gold. Let's get some material. This stuff doesn't look quite as good as the other stuff, as it's not as rusty and not as mineralized. And we'll keep it separate in a separate bucket. Very rocky. So it seems to be the same problem as the other place. The top few inches are thawed, but once you get down any depth, it is all frozen solid. So very hard to dig. Great material here. Like, that's a big chunk of quartz, druzy on the surface. Yeah, really like the look of the material.
Might need a close-up camera for this one.
You got a good one? Yeah, a little druzy pocket. Very cool. We'll put that with the other stuff to take close-ups of.
It's all iron rocks, like.
That's good. That's good. Since we have to carry this one back, we're only going about, what is that, 2/3 full?
3/4.
3/4? That's a really small 3/4, man. Well, we'll carry it down the hill, no problem. And then we'll go find some water and pan this out. Something hot right there. Should we dig that one spot up and put it in the bucket with us? Sure. Something hot right there. We're just gonna put it all in the bucket. Dig all around this spot, and then I'll redetect to see if we got it. Might need a pick to do this. Still there, in the ice. Okay, we've isolated the signal. It's in these two rocks here, and I can see big chunks of iron in them, but they're frozen solid. So I'm just gonna put them in the bucket, let it all thaw, and pan it out and see if there's a reason why that iron is setting us off. Here is a fabulous example of what we look for, typically for a gold-bearing quartz vein. Rusty quartz with vugs. Vuggy rusty quartz. That is perfect for possibly having gold in it. Well, this video is not over yet. We're going to go down the hill and try to pan out some of that material and see if we can find any gold. But I am now leaving Brent. I'm leaving Cerro Gordo. So, thank you so much.
Yes, thank you for being here.
It was so much fun.
Pleasure. Yeah, you're welcome back anytime.
Awesome. And I'd love to come back sometime when there's not so much snow on the ground.
Yeah, there's a little hard to find some rocks when there's snow everywhere.
Absolutely.
But we found some good ones.
We did.
That's
Thank
right.
you so much.
Thank you.
And if you haven't checked out Ghost Town Living, check out Brent's channel.
Please.
Well, here we are back in Canada. Spring is in the air, the snow is melting, it's almost prospecting season. But I have that ore I collected from Cerro Gordo to pan out and see if it has any gold in it. Yes, I would have loved to have done a better job of prospecting for gold up at Cerro Gordo, but that snow just got in our way. And really, taking 2 half buckets from the mine dumps that were somewhat thawed is not a great way to tell if there's any gold up there. But let's see if we got lucky. Let's see if there's something interesting in the 2 buckets of ore from Cerro Gordo. We have the winter panning gloves here because, well, that water is gonna be cold. And we're gonna start with a bucket from the Omega tunnel. This is the mulch pile or the tailings pile outside the Omega shaft, and we're gonna see what it has in it. It was the nicest looking stuff. This was right from in the middle of town and it didn't look so good. So let's start with the good stuff. Oops, I just dropped my camera in the water and it's not in its waterproof case right now. It's actually open to the water, so I hope I didn't hurt anything, but I got it out pretty quick. Let's get back to panning. Now that the mud is all washed off, we can have a good look at the ore. Lots of iron in there, lots of iron. I see some copper for sure in the form of malachite there. And look at this, some azurite on some of those. Definitely 2 oxides of copper in there. And this is why I say this stuff looks better than the others. We can see mineralization all through it. The iron and copper shows up all over the place. I'm hoping it also shows some gold. All right, I'm gonna do the whole bucket before I do a reveal, so I'm just gonna go pour the rest in here and pan it down too. Well, the first thing that jumps out at me in the pan is a bullet casing. Someone was having fun up there shooting. And this is definitely not from the 1800s. And the next thing that stands out for me is, well, I don't see any gold. I've swished this back once already. I don't see any gold in it. But I see this big, and I mean big, white line of a very light white material in the back edge. My gut feeling is that's all silver. Cerro Gordo was a lead silver mine, and I'm thinking that's a line of silver. I think this would have to be smelted down to find out for sure. Some of these pieces are definitely pieces of galena, but the fine powder of something white that's heavy, when lead oxidizes, you can see it here, when lead oxidizes, it goes to a white powdery stuff that's actually quite light and floats away. But something has oxidized out of this ore that is heavy and a white color. Stays behind everything else when you swish the pan. I think that might be silver. A lot of times when I'm speculating what I see, it's just that, it's speculation. I don't know for sure. I'm guessing from, you know, whatever knowledge I do have of what I might be seeing. As you probably noticed on my last video with the Smithsonite, or whatever it may have been in the end, we had lots and lots of guesses of what it may have been. Even when we did some research, we only think we know what we found. A lot of this is speculations. I'm speculating that might be silver. Obviously, it might be some sort of lead in there. It might be another mineral altogether that's heavy, like sphalerite or scheelite or something. But there's a good chance there's a silver content to that. I don't see any gold. One last look at that white stuff before we do the next bucket. Definitely heavier than the iron. No doubt about that. Put those cons aside for now, and let's do the next bucket. Now this is very different looking ore. This doesn't look anything like the Omega Tunnel. This is just right up behind the cabins at Cerro Gordo, the tailings piles that were up there, and definitely a crushed material. Seems to have lots of quartz in it. The miners, 100, 150 years ago said they were finding gold in these tailings. Let's see if we can. Yeah, baby, Cerro Gordo gold. It's a small piece, but it is a piece of gold. Check it out. So it is tiny, 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 but that is definitely a piece of gold. And that was just in the first pan of that bucket. So there's the piece of gold right there at the tip of my finger. But this pan still has that same white material that is heavier than everything else washing out of the backside. You can't guarantee it's silver because there are other minerals that are heavier than everything else that could be there. But that is really interesting that we have all that white and a piece of gold. And I'm looking and seeing what's probably another little piece over there. Nice. Cerro Gordo gold. I switched the pan around one more time, so I put it all back in the back corner and panned it out again, and I found that same piece of gold again. So it's definitely, it's a findable piece of gold from Cerro Gordo. Let's do the rest of the bucket. This is the rest of the bucket. The bucket that had a piece of gold. I left the gold in there, so I may pan it out in the end, but because it's so small. But I found Cerro Gordo gold, and I am happy about that. Get this pan down, see what else we find. This is also interesting. I'm not sure what this is, but it's in with the heavies. So it's a heavy material. It's crystalline, very yellow. I'm thinking that might be a lead crystal of some sort. I will definitely put that aside. I think what might be really fun to do with that material now is send those cons off for an assay to see what's in there. If it comes back at like 20 or 25% silver, I'll know that heavy white stuff that was lagging behind everything else was silver. If it comes back with, tungsten, I'll know it was scheelite. If it shows a whole lot of lead, maybe it was just lead particles. And it'll also tell us how much gold was actually in there. I see a lot of pieces that might be very weathered gold. And then there's a few pieces that are obviously chunks of gold. So that is awesome. Gold at Cerro Gordo. I won't have the assay results for this video. I'll have to put that into a later video somewhere on my channel. So check back in the future for what was actually in that pan. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please leave me that thumbs up. Hope I earned your subscription today. And a big thanks to everyone, especially my patrons. Because of the support of my patrons, I get to make weekly episodes of Dan Hurd Prospecting. Hope you're all having a great day. I am. And until the next one, bye. Thanks, Brent.